And the question for this week is, what to say when your 9-year-old daughter says she doesn't want to have a period? Welcome back to another episode of Sitting in a Car. I'm Sarah Sproul and I sit in a car every week answering a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. So this question is important, and it's important not just for parents who have 9-year-olds or parents who have 9-year-olds who are thinking about periods, but it's for all of us who are raising children that we want to stay connected with. Because this question is really about connection. I remember my first period. I remember getting my first period. I was 12. I was at home, so I had a pretty easy time of it, all things considered. I've heard stories about people that have got their period in the darndest of places. School hikes, parties, so being at home on my own was pretty good. But here's the thing, because the family I lived in didn't sort of regularly talk about periods, when I got mine, I wanted to keep it a secret. Unfortunately, I did not have the supplies I need to manage my period. I did not have any access to pads. I don't remember even being shown where they were in that house. So I muddled along for a few hours on my own using toilet paper and steadily came to realize that that was not going to work for me and I needed to talk to an adult. So I spoke to my mum. She was great. She got me the pads and all was well. But periods are hard. And coming up to a period, oftentimes we can, if your body is going to have a period, can be feeling like a little bit anxious, like, what is it going to be like? How am I going to manage it? Am I going to be embarrassed about it? Where is it going to happen? And all those questions. So any 9-year-old who says they don't want their period, well, it makes sense to me why they would say that. And maybe it makes sense to you too. So the first point to make in answering this question is this. You are doing great as a parent if your child is saying to you something like, I don't want to get a period, because it means that they feel open enough to tell you how they feel, right? They also feel open enough to tell you how they feel about periods. So already there are two big wins right there, is that everyone feels different about periods. When I was preparing for this episode of Sitting in a Car, I was thinking that I would say nobody likes their period, but actually that's not true, because there are people in the world that celebrate the fact that their body is a cyclical thing and they get a period every month. Some of us may have been very unwell and our period will have stopped. So periods can be a sign of health and wellness. So that's not quite right. But a lot of us find managing a period awkward and uncomfortable. It can take us years to get into the habit of remembering that it's coming. I mean, I'm in my 40s and sometimes it still takes me by surprise. And so when a 9-year-old says they don't really want their period, it makes sense, right? Because it's frustrating and annoying and a little bit scary and maybe a bit embarrassing. You might be able to tell your 9-year-old if she says something like this or they say something like this, that they're not alone in not wanting to have their period. There are a good few adults and other people in the world who feel exactly the same as they do. The third point to make about this question is that it's okay that they feel like that. And in fact, when a child says they don't want something to happen, one of the greatest strategies we can use as parents is to reflect how they feel. So if my 9-year-old was saying to me, I don't ever want to get a period, I can reflect back to her or them and say, yeah, it's not something that you're looking forward to, or you sound anxious about that, or perhaps you're feeling worried about getting your period. And we start using lots of words that describe feelings to help them understand or feel heard. And when we feel heard, and this goes for pretty much all human beings, when we feel heard about a worry and we don't feel so alone, then the anxiety may start to dissipate. And if it doesn't dissipate, at least we feel heard and like we have someone that has our back. Some parents feel like when their child tells them something that they feel worried or scared about, that they have to fix the problem straight away. But there are some problems that can't be fixed, and onset of periods is one of those things. It's an inevitable force of nature for a lot of us. And so we can say encouraging things like, tell me more, or you're not alone in that. And that way our child understands that their feelings are valid, we're not going anywhere, we're supporting in the experience, and it's going to be okay. So those 3 points again for this question about a 9-year-old who doesn't really ever want to have a period. You're doing great as a parent if your 9-year-old or any child of any age can tell you how they feel. So that's point 1. Point 2 is that child is not alone in how they feel. There are a lot of people who feel the same way, and so we can reassure them that, yeah, that's a common feeling, all right. And number 3 is when a child expresses a deep feeling towards something in their life, as a parent, we don't have to solve it. We just have to listen to it and show our child that we understand. And that's Sitting in a Car for another week, where I've answered a question to help you raise your confident and caring young person who respects themselves and the people around them. And while you're here, can I ask for your help? Would you like, repost or subscribe to Sitting in a Car? This helps parents just like you get the information and support they need to make this part of their parenting even better. Thanks, and bye for now.